to make big changes, we often have to make a series of small changes, because if we try to make the big change, we're tied to our current state with the rubber band, right? And so the faster we try to run away from it, the more that rubber band pulls us back. And what's worked for me, what I've seen work for my clients, is really sinking into the value of what is, sinking into what about what we're doing now serves us, and also seeing the way that it limits us.
You're listening to The Breakdown with me, Chris Clearfield. The Breakdown is a podcast where we connect with business owners and experts to hear their perspectives on this crazy, complex world. I'm your host and fellow learner, and I'm glad you're here.
Hey, so I wanted to do something a little bit different today. Instead of doing a longer form interview show with a guest, I'm just going to talk for a few minutes today about a challenge an actual firm owner that I've been talking with has, because I think it's interesting and I think it's instructive. And it's actually something that I wrote a little bit about in a recent blog post. So we'll link to that in the show notes, or you can go to chrisclearfield.com/podcast/8 to get to the article there, because this is, you guessed it, episode 8. So this firm owner that I want to tell you about, really interesting guy, really innovative and amazing in the way he practices what he does, has really kind of built a firm that does innovative and amazing work. And he's got a good team around him. And, he's built the firm over the last 7-8 years, and really with his blood and sweat and tears and effort, through family issues, through health problems, through all of this stuff. And yet he's emerged from the other side. And rightfully so, he has a firm that he is really, really proud of. And one of the things he's proud of is the way he invests in his staff and the way he trains them and gets them to, they're a huge part of him delivering the value that he's able to deliver. But he's still kind of at the center of the firm, right? I mean, really, there's not a lot that can happen without some intervention by him. And over time, he's gotten that amount of intervention to be less and less, but he's still the linchpin. He's still the critical piece in many ways. One way he put it is, if he goes away for a month, then there's no new business that gets developed in that month. So obviously that's not ideal, because he's a person that wants to have not just more flexibility, not just be able to, take a vacation with his family without kind of worrying about what's happening in the firm, but also he wants to be able to scale a little bit more. There's one of him, and he doesn't really want to bring on another partner, which I think is understandable for somebody who's built a firm. And I think a lot of folks feel that way. But he does want to be able to scale. And in addition to wanting to be able to scale, he sees that there's a part of the market that his services don't address. So he works with high-end people that want to solve a big and pressing and important problem for themselves. But there are a lot of people that could use his skills and his services and self-service. And I think this is a common problem that folks are seeing, that, if you think about, for example, a trust and estates practice, of course, there's going to be people that come to a trust and estates attorney and want the problem of having a will, having a trust, having all of this stuff set up to be solved for them. But then there's a whole other demographic that just needs something much, much simpler and can't afford to pay an attorney for that one-on-one attention, but could get a product that was a little bit crafted for them that they could self-service. And this firm owner's in a sort of similar position. So he wants to build this product. He wants to build this product that helps him address a different part of the market, a different kind of segment of the market, so that those folks can self-serve, so that his business, an aspect of his business, can generate income without him. And because he actually wants to do education with his clients too. So this set of clients that he envisions starting as a self-service model, some of them will end there, but some of them will want to work more with his firm and want to work more with him. And so there's these really big benefits. So what I think is interesting is how he tried to approach this. So he looks at this. This is a priority for him. He sees this as important for his firm, for his, work-life balance, for his family life, and also for being able to leave a legacy for his family and his kids, and, take his firm from a bespoke practice to something that he might be able to sell one day, or there'd be recurring revenue, even if he weren't involved actively. So lots of good reasons. And when he and I started chatting, we started chatting about his first attempt to do this, which was to take a month off and step back from the day-to-day operations of his business and just, kind of go away in monk mode sort of and create this product, and then, come out and work with his team to launch it and refine it and all this stuff. So it's not that he's a lone wolf and he wanted to go do this alone, but he wanted to carve that time out for him. And you might be able to guess where this story is going. So, 2 weeks before his kind of sabbatical month was supposed to start. And by the way, I should say that this is a strategy that works for some people, but there's an irony embedded in here, right? Which is that he wants to create a product so he can step away from his firm, because he can't right now. He can't not be involved in the day-to-day operations. And so, but to try to create that product, he tries to pull himself entirely out of the day-to-day operation. So there's some kind of tension here going on. And so lo and behold, 2 weeks before he was going to start this sabbatical, he got an offer from a client to do a really interesting and lucrative piece of work. And he said yes to it, which I think was, in many ways, I don't have a particular judgment around that decision, but I think in general, it's nice to say yes to money. I think there are a few circumstances where you might want to say no to a client, and I'll talk about those in a later Coaching Moment podcast. But I think that there is a real interesting tension that our firm owner has stumbled across. So he says yes to this client work. He does this lucrative client work. His sabbatical is blown away. And now what we can see is he's got a little bit more cash in hand. Well, actually, he had quite a bit more cash in hand, because this was a good piece of work for him and his firm. But he's further away from his goal, right? He's now, it's not even, he's now busier, right? He's now not able to even dedicate thinking space to kind of productizing his offering for this segment of the market. And that's when we started talking. And what was interesting was that the thing that he didn't see was that his involvement in the firm day to day really, really served him well, and it served the firm well. He was the engine of the firm, and to get rid of that, to kind of push that away, is something that is very, very hard to make work, right? I mean, his commitment is to be running the firm and making it work on the day-to-day. And to push that away, what he felt was that pushback. What he felt when he got that invitation from that client to do that work, and when he said yes, it was that resistance to him trying to push the very thing that has made him successful, which is his ability to run this very capable firm, or to run this firm very capably. Pushing that away was something that generated a lot of resistance for him, and was something that ultimately didn't work in the way he tried to do it. But he did come to a solution, and what that was to have his admin block out 2 to 3 hours a week on his calendar, and treat that time as really sacred, and start in those 2 to 3 hours a week to plot out what his product was going to be, and what his offering was going to be to this different segment of the market. And rather than try to make this big transformational change, to make a smaller set of changes. And the other thing that's allowed him to do is, to kind of not go away in monk mode, but to get feedback as he goes from the people on his team who also have a lot of insight into how to deliver these things and how to productize the service that they are doing, because they are very involved in, they're also critical parts of the business. So to me, it's an interesting and instructive story. One of the things I think about is to make big changes, we often have to make a series of small changes, because if we try to make the big change, we're tied to our current state with the rubber band, right? And so the faster we try to run away from it, the more that rubber band pulls us back. And what's worked for me, what I've seen work for my clients, is really sinking into the value of what is, sinking into what about what we're doing now serves us, and also seeing the way that it limits us. And in doing that, we can often find a solution that is more subtle, more nuanced. It's integrative. It's not, I'm going to service my existing clients, or I'm going to go away and make this whole new product over the course of a month. It's, I'm going to service my clients, and I'm going to use the infrastructure I already have to help build this product. And I'm going to get feedback. And I'm actually going to dedicate time to working on it, because I'm not going to have that rubber band pulling me back all the way. And with that, this firm owner is now on the path to developing a successful product. And I think that's really exciting. And I think it's a really great example of, I think, the way that we often, our ambitions often put us in the way of the very change we're trying to do. And sometimes just taking it a little bit more slowly can really make a big difference. So with that, I'll say thank you for your attention, and love feedback on how this lands for you. So send me an email, chris@chrisclearfield.com, at Chris Clearfield on Twitter, or all of the other places, LinkedIn, you can find me, those kinds of things. So really appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. To stay in the loop about new episodes and to be eligible for my periodic book bundle giveaways, sign up for the Breakdown newsletter at chrisclearfield.com/giveaway. So what's this giveaway? Every few months, I bundle together 3 or 4 influential books, often written or recommended by guests from the show, and I give them away to a few lucky listeners. I'll include a signed copy of Meltdown, and because I'm friends with many of my fellow authors, I try to get their books signed as well, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Go to chrisclearfield.com/giveaway to get on the list. Finally, join your fellow listeners, subscribe to the show, and share it with your friends. And if you love the show, give us a 5-star rating in your favorite podcast app. Even one extra review helps us get an edge on the algorithm so more people can find us. And before we roll the credits, remember, if you're a business owner ready to transform your business and your life, find out more about my approach to coaching and sign up for a free intro session at chrisclearfield.com/maketheleap. That's all one word, make the leap. The Breakdown with Chris Clearfield is a team effort. The inimitable Rain Avant is our assistant producer and makes everything run smoothly. Gabe Turner and Claire Skinner help make the amazing content here and on my newsletter, available at chrisclearfield.com/thebreakdown. Laura Stack is our editor, and our theme was composed by the creative team at Spiky Blimp. Thanks so much for listening, and be well until our next Breakdown.